The following video is going to take a look at what I would consider to be a objectively bad D&D adventure. This is my own opinion.
Oh yes, it's Caleb the Dungeon Master here once again to share another tale of woe and horribly balanced adventures.
Recently, I played in a terrible game of D&D. We made it to the last room, but it was a mess from the start. It was a new DM, and the adventure was completely unbalanced. So, using the information from the handouts we were given, I searched online for this adventure, and I found it. I am not going to mention it by name because, number one, I don't want to promote this in any way. And number two, I don't want fans of this thing cluttering up my comments. I don't think there's a good conversation to be had here. I'm just talking about my own experience. The presentation of this adventure was really good. Professionally done. The art is fun and cartoony and could easily fool any new DM that it's the perfect introduction to D&D. It is not. This is an adventure that's posing as a fun romp for levels 1 through 4, which it could be a fun romp at levels 3 or 4 maybe. It would be a super hard dungeon crawl at level 2, but at level 1, it's a miserable slog. Let me tell you about the first trap we encountered. 1d6 damage 2 times around from 2 crossbow traps that attack everyone. If it's a party 4, that means 8 attacks per round. One crossbow goes off at initiative 20, the other at initiative 10. So unless the PCs roll really high on their initiative, the first thing that's going to happen in this adventure is that they're going to get shot at. No chance to dodge or do anything else, even though the players would be fully aware that there's danger going into this situation. It's not like they're being ambushed or anything. Every round, it's a potential 2 to 12 damage to each PC. It takes a minimum of 3 rounds to get past this trap, with absolutely no cover. If the DM rolls well, that's a possible 6 to 36 damage to every PC. Level 1 through 4 adventure. Well, certainly there must be a way to disable this trap then. Well, you can risk an action to time the shots so they have disadvantage. But it's a DC 15 intellect check, and all PCs are probably at this point using their actions to deal with other hazards or try to run. I don't know how new players would even think to use their intellect score to try to time the things. PCs can also attempt to use ranged attacks to disable the crossbow traps. Every attack that causes 10 damage reduces the base attack of the crossbows by 1. If the attack bonus is reduced to -8, the crossbows cease firing. So it would take a mere 11 attacks to disable the trap. But wait, there's 2 crossbow traps. So that is a mere 22 ranged attacks to disable the trap. Only 220 damage. Oh, and by the way, the attacks must do at least 10 damage in order to count towards this. If they do less than 10 damage, then nothing happens to the crossbow traps. I didn't make that up. That's written down in the official rules of the adventure. So at this point, new players are being taught that it's impossible to disable traps in D&D. That's literally the first trap the PCs encounter, and that trap alone can easily kill an entire party of level 1 PCs. It's like 2 110 HP creatures with damage resistance who can attack 4 times around each. There are 6 other traps in this same area, including a spiked wall that keeps on pushing the PCs forward into the crossbow fire. My character got through this area by going prone and crawling most of the way. I had to use up all my healing spells, I was a cleric, to make sure other party members just didn't automatically die. One of the next traps is a firebolt trap area, where a +5 bolt can do 1d10 damage to a PC. PCs can attempt to use a DC 12 Arcana check to turn off that trap. If they succeed, twice. However, if they fail this check, then the magic trap magically gets stronger and can send out a second firebolt to the PCs. So that's now 2d10 total damage from this trap, in addition to the crossbow bolts that are firing twice around. Players can also avoid this trap by simply casting 2 Dispel Magic spells. Yeah, Dispel Magic. The level 3 spell. This is an adventure for levels 1 through 4. I could go into detail about the other traps, but suffice to say, players can easily suffer another 2d4 and 2d8 damage while still being fired at by these crossbows. Then, it's on to the monster encounters. There are 4 of them, and you can't really avoid any of them easily. 2 of them are monster generators, where every round more monsters show up. And there's really no easy way to stop that within 1 or even 3 rounds. One encounter features 8 flying swords. Now, 8 flying swords would be a deadly encounter for any well-rested level 1 party. 8 flying swords would be roughly impossible to anyone who just went through crossbow hell and several CR1 encounters before this. There is no long rest in this dungeon crawl. There is 1 short rest, so if you're level 1, good luck rolling high on that HP dice. So how did this happen? How did somebody design such a nice-looking adventure with the artwork and whatnot, and clearly not playtest the thing? At first, I looked for some sort of suggestion to lower the difficulty for level 1 PCs. I double-checked. There was advice for people to be given more time to solve this dungeon, and that was it. So good, more time for crossbow bolts. Frankly, I consider the amount of work it would take to fix this to a reasonable level, and I realized there's no easy fix. You would have to pretty much rewrite the entire adventure, every single encounter. There's no possible way this was tested at level 1 and 2. So in the end, I'm not exactly sure what happened, but then I looked at the included level 1 characters, and I started to have my suspicions. Rare to very rare magical items. Yeah, all level 1 characters have those. I see everyone got super lucky on all their rolls. Those modifiers make sense. This is all clearly above board. The insane, overpowered level 1 characters are one thing, but the sloppiness and the incredibly unbalanced nature of them clearly shows that the person who wrote this adventure does not have a basic understanding of 5e. These level 1 characters could survive this dungeon. Characters made from anything resembling the official rules probably can't. So it's a disgrace. A new DM found this slick adventure with its nice artwork and seemingly fun theme, and as a result, I and several other people had a terrible, miserable night of bad D&D. Some new DM is going to try to run this for new players, and God help them if they choose level 1 characters created from the player's handbook. A new DM might not understand that they would have to practically redo every single encounter and trap in order to make this doable for level 1. By the way, the traps were written in such a way that there only seems to be one way to actually deactivate or avoid them, and for a new DM, that actually might dramatically cut down on the creative solutions players can come up with. This adventure is clearly not going to be any fun for anyone who runs it at level 1 or 2. New players would probably have a tough time getting through it at level 3. In fact, somebody who reviewed it on Amazon ran at level 3 and called it garbage. They also noted, the designers must not have playtested this or heard of the phrase action economy. I agree. So all I can say is that if you want to be safe, DMs should probably use official D&D products. I mean, Death House for first level characters would be a blast compared to this thing. Just because something is well written and well designed does not mean it's going to make for a fun game of D&D. New DMs, be careful. One last rant from a personal perspective. There's a section of the book that actually made me very angry. Most likely, this is what the players are going to listen to before the session ends and they all go home. If the PCs failed, the pains you have suffered pale in comparison to how badly the tongue lashings, jeers, and outright laughter at your expense wash over you from the assembled, seasoned adventurers that bore witness to your utter failure. To add insult to injury, the old dwarf flips you your normally non-refundable gold piece in funeral expenses. He gives you a disappointed look and sneers, "I think ye may need of this coin, because ye won't be making much as adventurers," before turning his back on you in disgust. To the jackass who wrote this nonsense and doesn't understand 5e rules, take note. This is exactly how you make sure a new player never wants to play D&D ever again. This is insult after injury after marketing this as a fun, cartoony dungeon crawl. A lot of kids play D&D to escape this bullshit in real life. This is what shitty parents, teachers, and coaches tell kids. This is the kind of insults that they're going to get in high school. This is the kind of insults they're going to get in elementary school. On a personal note, I used to run RPG events for kids, and it was really clear that they were just looking for a break from what they normally had to deal with. This end is incredibly jarring compared to the rest of the adventure, and would be a cheap punch to the gut to any new player who's already going to be disappointed that they failed. I mean, talk about like kicking new players when they're down. This is ridiculous. I want to make this perfectly clear. I am completely okay with grim stuff as long as the players are adults. If you're going to make some cartoony D&D product that's specifically aimed at new and young players, don't add bullshit like this to your game that goes along with the bullshit unbalanced dungeon crawl. And that's me sneering at the author in disgust. Whoever wrote this shit can go directly to the 9 hells. Hey everybody, thank you for watching the video. As always, if you want to support me, those links are downstairs in the description. And if you have any comments or anything about this horrific thing, or want to share your own terrible D&D story, please do so in the comments below. Why? Kringle doesn't look as scary. I look really scary with negative light, but Kringle just kind of looks white. Kringle, you don't look very scary. You actually look all fuchsia and weird. Yeah, I mean, all it does is make your eyes purple and your skin white. It's not very scary. Oh, and your mouth is blue. Yeah, no, you're not very scary. I look scary. Especially the black shirt and everything, yeah. But, yeah.